So, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to have you join us again on Realty 411's YouTube channel. And it is a pleasure to share this time with you and to interview one of my top mentors in the real estate industry, Justin Ford. Now, Justin is a top producing real estate agent, broker associate in Detroit, Michigan. So we're really excited to have him here today so he can tell us all about his life changing career in real estate because real estate really did indeed alter the direction of his life. And we're going to hear all about that as well as his tips and techniques on how he became one of eXp Realty's top producing agents in the country. So we're really excited to have him. Hello, Justin.
Hey, Linda, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're really busy. You're out there going on 2 to 3 listing appointments a day, folks.
Yep.
That's what it takes to be a top producing agent. We're going to learn all about it from Justin. But Justin is a really hardworking man in the industry. And Justin, tell us exactly what led you to the real estate industry? What
Yeah.
brought you to where you are today?
Yep. So I appreciate that. And that's a great question. So I'm 42 years old and I was introduced to this industry 20 years ago. Fresh, brand new adult. All I knew was, working some jobs, never really got into a career, didn't go to college. So I didn't have a degree. But I was always good at sales, especially phone sales. I had done telemarketing, I had done travel agency, and while I was doing those things, I had a friend of mine who owned a mortgage company at the time, and he basically said, "Hey, how would you like to come make phone calls and set refinance appointments?" And I said, well, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I worked at the telemarketing company during the day, and then I went to his mortgage office in the evening and I set appointments. And within 2 weeks, I quit my job and I went full time into the industry, setting appointments for mortgages and refinances back in 2005. And very quickly, I realized that there was a lot of opportunity within the industry through my skill and my ability to be able to set appointments and make phone calls. And so I was in the mortgage business for about 3 to 4 years. I was a part of the crash back in 08, 09. And so I went from, doing, setting phone call appointments to actually being a loan officer and doing mortgages. And, my upbringing is I come from a very, low to middle class income home. Again, I didn't go to college, actually dropped out of high school as a high school kid, got into some trouble, made some poor decisions, then turned my life around. So I didn't really have a foundation of success. But once I realized that I could create my own success within sales and not having a ceiling, uh, things took off for me. But then 2008, 2009, the market crashed and couldn't do mortgages anymore. It was almost impossible to refinance somebody's home, and so I didn't want to go back to working a job because that didn't work for me. And so I started doing short sales and loan modifications and helping people that were going through foreclosure to be able to either save their home and or sell their home. And then I did that for a few years. And then back in 2013, I got my real estate license here in Michigan and sold 100 homes my first year in the business back in 2013. Learned how to prospect, calling expireds and for sale by owners. The rest is history. Here we are today.
Wow, really amazing. Now, Justin, you shared with us that in the beginning you made some poor decisions, and
Yep.
I know, you personally, and I know that when you were young, you had some struggles. Can you share with us whatever you're comfortable sharing, of course, but some of the things that you went through and how everything kind of changed when you found your niche in real estate, especially as a top producing agent.
Yep. So I grew up in a broken home. My parents divorced when I was two, so I feel like there was already some disadvantage there. And so, after my parents divorced, my mom got remarried. So I grew up, with my mom and my stepdad, and then they got a divorce. So I've been through multiple divorces as a kid, which I think at the time you don't understand it, but it definitely creates some trauma, and it creates some some tough times, when you're growing up. And so as a teenager, I was a good kid in high school. I got good grades, but I just started making some poor decisions, through peer pressure, started hanging out with some of the wrong crowd, and started using drugs, started drinking, started just acting up, and got a girl pregnant when I was 18 years old. And between the ages of 17 and 19, I acquired 8 misdemeanors and a felony, and those were all drug and alcohol related. So,
Wow.
the poor decisions really kind of took me off the wrong path. I got arrested 13 times in 2 years. I lost my driver's license because I had two drunk driving. So I lost my driver's license for 10 years.
Oh,
I became a
man.
dad at 18 years old. And, after getting into that drunk driving accident, and almost losing my life, I actually, checked myself into a faith-based homeless shelter here in Michigan, and that's where I became Christian, and it changed my life, and that led me to pursuing this path of creating something for my life and with my life, because I've got a saying that I say, it's not how you start, what matters is how you finish. So I could have easily looked at the mistakes that I made as a teenager, and losing a license, having a felony, getting in trouble, and I could have allowed those things to define me or keep me from creating success, but I didn't. And so I began to really pursue this space, right? The real estate industry, the mortgage industry, commission sales, and by being able to create my own success, it's really worked well for me. I was never, I didn't really have an aspiration so much to go to college, although I could have, because my grandfather was an attorney and he told me he would give me his law firm. But after going through the things that I did, working a regular 9 to 5 job wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for something where I could, make good money, but also use my skills to create success. And when I was introduced to real estate, I really found that that success.
What a great inspirational story, Justin. And just congratulations with turning your life around. Just like you said, a lot of people would have given up after maybe even the first or second misdemeanor and
Right.
said, forget it, I'm throwing in the towel. This is my life forever. But no, you did not let that define you, and you pushed forward and found incredible success. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. My goodness. And can you share with us a little bit about some of the challenges that you face in your career as a top producing broker? Because let's not kid anyone, there's still a lot of stress involved
Mhm.
in a lifestyle of keeping up with multiple buyers, multiple agents under you, because now you also lead a team of
Yep.
other agents under you. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges with that, Justin?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll first say there's challenges in everything that we do. It just comes down to, how bad do you want it and what price are you willing to pay? And, for me, when it comes to commission sales, I mean, one of the biggest challenges is if you don't work, you don't eat. And, it's not like going to a 9 to 5 job where you punch a clock and, you can give 100% one day and maybe 20% the next, and you're still getting the same paycheck. Well, in commission sales, as we know, it doesn't work that way. So I think first and foremost, you have to have a strong mindset. Mindset is everything. And I think what I found, being not only an agent, a team leader, but also a real estate coach, is most people have, limiting beliefs and a scarcity mindset, which prevents them from creating the success that they ultimately want. I believe everybody wants more, everybody aspires to have more and to be more, but most people aren't willing to pay the price of becoming the person that you need to be in order to create the success that you want to have. And so, right off the bat, being able to get up every day as an independent contractor and create a structured schedule without a boss, to be able to show up every day and treat your real estate business like a business, not a hobby, not a part-time gig, but a real business. Being able to have a schedule where you can hold yourself accountable to it and show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Whereas we know in real estate, many people are like, well, I don't feel like working today, or, well, I'm just going to take a couple of days off. And we know that in this business, if you're not consistently, filling your pipeline with new opportunities, you're going to struggle. So I find that that's a big struggle. Mindset, the ability to have discipline around your schedule. But also, I think one of the biggest struggles that I find that real estate agents have is not talking to enough people on a daily basis. Nine out of 10 real estate agents, that's 90%, are out of the business in their first 2 years, because I think a lot of real estate agents watch these selling sunset shows and they think real estate is easy, but it's very, very hard. It's very rewarding, but it's very hard. And then also, I think it was last year, 74% of real estate agents didn't even sell a home. And it leads you to believe, or it leads you to question why. Well, it's because most real estate agents are not out daily creating new conversations with new people in order to, set appointments, go on appointments, and take listings or work with buyers. And so for me, I still have those same challenges that everybody else has. I've just learned how to have discipline on a daily basis to show up and do the work anyway, work on my mindset when I don't feel like it, and have a goal every day to talk to 25 people about real estate. I think those are the three biggest struggles that real estate agents face, including myself.
Absolutely. It's certainly not easy. Um, what do you think of traditional systems like door knocking, cold calling? Um, do does your team ever engage in those tactics as well?
Absolutely. So when
Okay.
I got into the real estate, the industry 20 years ago, I started making phone calls. That's how I got into the mortgage business. But then when I joined a team here in Detroit back in 2013, I joined the Jeff Glover team, and Jeff Glover's been the number one real estate team in Michigan, for the last 15 years. And the reason why is because the foundation of their business model is picking up the phone and calling expireds and for sale by owners every day. Now, 95% of people never want to do that because it involves rejection. And we're, as real estate agents, we're always looking for the path to least resistance, and we're always looking for the greatest and latest and greatest system and strategy and tool and technology to get us a now deal, which is great. But the reality is, unless we're picking up the phone and having conversations every day, unless we're going out and knocking on doors every single day, we're especially when you're brand new, you're going to struggle, because not everybody has a big sphere of influence. Not everybody has a big database of clients that are picking up the phone and calling you every day saying, hey, Justin, come list my house. Hey, can you help me buy a house? And so for me, what I've learned, and I still do it today, is I go to my office every day, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., and I'm calling expireds in for sale by owners every day. And I'm setting appointments every day. And so even though I started doing that, 12 years ago, it still works today. And so why wouldn't I, if I could, pick up a phone and make phone calls and set appointments every day? Why wouldn't I do that every day? And so I do that every day. That's how I'm on 2 to 3 listing appointments every day.
Fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit about what it's like to work with your wife and as your professional partner. Um,
Yep.
that's fantastic, by the way. And Joy's such a wonderful lady. I've enjoyed meeting her and spending time with her at some of our events.
Yep,
So yeah, please let her know that I say hello and
I
share with
will.
share with our readers what's it like to work with your spouse.
Well, in the beginning, it was very difficult. And I always joke and I say, I don't know if I fired her or she quit the first time we worked together because, back in 20, I think it was 2013, right after we had our youngest son, maybe it was 2014, after we had our youngest son, he started going to preschool or, whatever it was, not preschool, but maybe it was latchkey or, something, kids care. I said, my business is growing and I need help. And so she came on as my transaction coordinator and my assistant. And it didn't go well at first because we were bringing our marriage into our personal life and we'd be at the office and arguing and, going through things. And I think at the same time, I said, you're fired. And she said, I quit. And so, but it wasn't, it
I
wasn't too
love
long.
it.
Yeah. It wasn't too long until after that, we realized that we had to figure it out because we knew God had not only brought us together to be married, but also to, build something together. And we've just learned to figure that out. So for a handful of years, she was my transaction coordinator and did all the paperwork, worked with all the customers on the administrative side, but then I would handle all of the client facing stuff. Well, it wasn't about until I think it was 2.5 years ago that she went and got her real estate license. So she went to get her real estate license, and now she works with all of our buyers. I handle all of the listings. She works with all of our buyers, and she works our database. She does our client events, and we're at a place right now in our business where things are exploding and going to the next level because we're working together. We've learned how to work together. We've learned where each other's strengths are, and we've learned to respect each other in the business. And we love working together. We travel a lot because I'm also a real estate coach, and so when I go on tour to speak or I'm out of town, she goes with me. And so we've really began to enjoy working together and building together.
That's fantastic. I love it. What a great inspiration for other couples who want to do business together.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your farm market and the area that you concentrate on.
Yep. So we're in a market called Metro Detroit, and so Metro Detroit includes Detroit proper and all the suburbs around it, also including Ann Arbor, where the University of Michigan is. But because of so I'm with eXp Realty, and we have about 200 people, in our organization, and so we cover pretty much half the state of Michigan. So we've got coverage in Grand Rapids, we've got coverage in Lansing, we've got coverage in Saginaw and Flint, all the way down to even Toledo, Ohio. We have a team in Toledo. So we cover, basically the whole half of Michigan, but also have referral partners, not only all over Michigan, but around the country. So we've been able to really cover a lot of space, but our backyard, our niche for the Justin Ford real estate team is Metro Detroit.
Fantastic. What a great space. And it's amazing that you've been able to just expand it significantly.
Yep.
How do you differentiate your company from other competitors in your area, Justin?
Yep. That's a great question. I was actually just having this conversation this morning at breakfast with my friend and mortgage partner. And, for us, I always say a real estate agent has many options, many brokerages, many teams, and everybody is offering something. For us, what I think differentiates us from other teams is our approach is not only to help people sell a lot of homes and make a lot of money, it's also to help them to live great lives, really discover their purpose and support them in their relationships, in their marriage, in their family, in their faith, in their health and wellness, but also in their business. And so I know a lot of times people look at a real estate agent as just a dollar sign, right? If you're a team leader, this person can help the bottom line. Well, what we really focus on is the right type of people joining our team. So our culture is very important to us. We have about 24 agents on our personal Justin Ford team. And, we don't bring anybody, just anybody on. If we feel like they're a good fit, and we ask them, what attracts you to our team? Why would you want to come over here and be a part of our team? And then really identify and discover, what their big picture is, and if we can come alongside of them and help them get there, then they're a good fit for us. Also, we're very skills based, very focused on helping people become great real estate agents. A lot of times because people treat this as a hobby and they treat this as a side gig or whatever, they don't treat it like a professional business. When somebody's hiring you to buy or sell their home, they're hiring you as a professional that they're relying on to help them, sell their home for the most amount of money and find a home for the best price possible. And so we want our agents to be the most professional, best agents in the market, and also be able to help them, again, create success in their own business and in their own life. And so I think that is what differentiates us, and that's what attracts people to us, is we're more focused on a holistic approach to helping that agent win, not only in business but also in life.
Fantastic. You get it all with the Justin Ford team. I love it. Justin, why eXp? Why did you choose eXp above all the other brokerages in the US?
Yep. So I've only been involved with three companies. First one was when I joined Jeff's team. He's a part of Keller Williams. Then I started my own independent brokerage for 4 years. And then I came to eXp. And when I came to eXp, it was back in 2021, when they were the only cloud-based brokerage at the time. Right now, we've got other great companies like Real and Epic and LPT, and there's a lot of good ones out there. The reason I chose eXp was because I saw eXp as a model that I could build my brand inside of. And because they were already in 50 states, because they were already in all the provinces in Canada, because they were already in 20 something countries, I saw an opportunity to grow within that model. Was also very attracted to their rev share program and also attracted to their stock program. And so I have a friend of mine who introduced me to eXp, and it took me a handful of years to realize and see the opportunity. But the thing that I chose eXp for was, number one, I really felt like God told me that that's where he wanted me to be, which is very important for me. I know there's a lot of great opportunities, and there's a lot of great companies and a lot of great, you know, things that people offer. But I want to be really where I feel God has called me to be, where I can make my biggest impact. But number two, eXp is a debt-free company. They're very established, and they've proven themselves. And so for me, it was, I didn't have to come join a company that might not make it down the road, but had already built a strong enough business and model that was proven that I could plug myself into, and it's been great.
Fantastic. Love this. Now, is there anything that you'd like to add? Something that maybe I may have missed?
So I would say for those aspiring to be real estate agents or real estate investors, I remember what Jeff Glover told me, my first mentor in real estate. He told me, he said, Justin, real estate's going to open up a lot of doors for you if you do it right. And you'll never have to venture off into any other industry to find success. He said, there's many avenues and many ways to build wealth and create success in real estate. And I would love to encourage those that are watching the video or reading the magazine that as you pursue real estate, understand that it's going to be hard work and it's going to take time to lay a strong foundation. But if you do it right and you partner with the right people and you work hard at it, it's going to create a lot of opportunities for you. So not only do we sell real estate, we have a team. Not only do we have a team, we have a downline. Not only do we have a downline, we buy and sell real estate, and we rehab and flip properties. I'm also a real estate coach. I also have a podcast regarding real estate. So there's a lot of different doors and opportunities that have opened that all opened because I became a great real estate agent. So whether you're looking to get into real estate as an agent or as an investor, go be great at that. Treat people right, do work right, work hard, and that will open up a lot of opportunities for you.
Great advice. Now, one of these opportunities that opened up for you recently was the fact that you are now a published author.
Yes, I am.
Tell us a little bit about that, Justin, and how we can buy your book. We want to support you.
Yep. So I wrote a book, and I think I might have it. I wrote a book called Unleashed. It's my story. So when I shared my story that I've been through some things in life, I wrote this book called Unleashed: 7 Key Principles to Breaking Free and Breaking Through, where I share my story of overcoming the challenges and the setbacks and the difficulties that I had early in life. And I give 7 key principles of how I did that. Because many people, Linda, have a rough going, go through hard times, make some mistakes, have setbacks, have a difficult child upbringing, go through a divorce, make some poor decisions. And a lot of times we stop and we allow those things to hinder us from creating success or the life that we ultimately want to have. And we just settle because we tell ourselves lies, or we have limiting beliefs around this, or I messed up, or I can't be this, or I can't do this. And when I wrote this book Unleashed, it was to encourage people that it truly doesn't matter how you start. What matters is how you finish. And it doesn't matter what you've been through, what you're going through, what difficulties you faced, the mistakes you've made. You can overcome those things, and you can create success moving forward. And so this book is available on Amazon. You can find it right on the Amazon website. And I also did the audio book, which you can find on audible.com.
Nice. Wonderful. Well, I would encourage all of our listeners, all of our viewers, please support Justin, get his book Unleashed. It'll be a life changer. I mean, Justin is sharing all his past, his present, and his future right in this book. And there's so many fantastic lessons to be learned by reading it or by listening if you want to get the audio book, which is fantastic for those people that have a commute or that drive a lot.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And I would also say if anybody wants to connect with me on social media, you can connect with me at the official Justin Ford. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Obviously, I have YouTube. I have a podcast called the Justin Ford Podcast, which is very real estate focused. And so feel free to reach out if there's anything that I can help you with, answer any questions, you know, um, help you or whatever it may be. Feel free to reach out. We have people that reach out all the time that just have some questions or need some direction, and I'd be happy to help.
Fantastic. What about those people who are in your vicinity who would perhaps like to interview for your team? How can they reach out to you?
Yep, absolutely. We're always looking for agents that are here in the local Detroit market or even across the country. We have 2 ways of working with me. You can obviously, connect with us if you're local to the Metro Detroit area through the Justin Ford Real Estate Team, or our eXp group is called the Legacy Network. We've got some great things we're doing. Or you're interested in potentially coaching. Again, I'm a coach with Glover U, and so you can go to my website, justinfordteam.com, or you can connect with me right on social media, and I would be happy to connect with you, answer any questions, and have a conversation with you.
Justin, thank you so much for this wonderful time and for sharing all your success strategies with us. Tell us before we let you go, what's next for Justin Ford?
My goal is to really get my Justin Ford real estate team established, and I'm in the process of bringing over a director of operations full time. Just hired an inside sales manager who's overseeing all of our inbound and outbound leads. My goal is to impact more people. I look at real estate as a vehicle to reach people and do ministry, So our goal is to go from 200 to 1,000 in our EXP network, and really just impact and make a difference in more people's lives. And so it's to really just keep doing what we're doing and do it at a higher level.
Well, I know that you will be so successful, Justin. And from all of us at Realty 411, we just wish you all the success in the world.
I appreciate you, Linda. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to watch out for the next edition of Realty 411 featuring Justin Ford on the cover. And we're going to be having an amazing story on the inside as well, featuring his lovely wife, Joy, and his team as well. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye, everyone.